My biggest profit month on Etsy so far was $34,945. Yes, you heard me right. The revenue was somewhere over $100,000 that month. The profit, the amount that I got to keep after I paid Printify, was over $34,000, almost 35. And while that was an extremely exciting month, that is not how my May went. I wonder how your May is going. This is my fourth year on Etsy. I'll soon be celebrating my 5-year anniversary. And I'm taking you along on this year with me, the journey of month to month. Because I know when I first started Etsy, the ups and the downs, every time I was in a down, I thought, well, that's the end. I've messed my Etsy shop up. And I guess this is just going to keep going down. And it doesn't matter what I do, it's just not going to work. Which is not true. Trust me, it's not. If you are regularly adding listings to your shop, the best quality that you can at the moment, and you're always on a quest to learn and get better at creating good, well-researched designs, then your shop will have more ups than downs and will overall be trending up, except when we're in a bit of a down, it feels like, well, that's it. That's it. It's always going to be down, right? Am I ever going to get out of this? I'm filming this June 2nd, and I'm going over my May numbers with you. And well, my May started to trail downward. And if you are in one of the niches that I'm big into, there's a good possibility your May trailed downwards as well. I'm going to get into the numbers with you. I'm going to talk to you about why my numbers are doing what they're doing. And I hope this video brings you hope. If you're feeling frustrated with your numbers, stick with me. By the end of this video, you're going to go, oh, I might be okay after all. Before we jump over onto the computer and look at my numbers for May, I feel like you need a little bit of context. So it is my fourth year on Etsy. Only a year into my journey. That's not that much time after opening a business. I was making as much as I was being a public school teacher. And after a year and a half on Etsy, I decided to quit my teaching job. I was a fourth grade school teacher. And I went full-time Etsy. Very shortly after that, within a year of quitting my job, I had tripled my annual salary on Etsy. So every year, I was making triple what I was making as a school teacher. And as a matter of fact, more than triple. It was kind of incredible. Now, after I quit my teaching job, I did start other things. I started a YouTube channel, and then I started an online community. And both of these things really took a lot of the time that I had been focusing on Etsy away from Etsy. And so if you're wondering what you could do 4 years down the road after opening your Etsy shop, I'm not necessarily the person to look at for that, because I decided to open other businesses and actually start teaching about this. So I felt like I just kind of had to mention that. We'll jump into my numbers now, but if I had just stayed with Etsy and not built other businesses that took my attention away from Etsy, I would guess that I would have been making like maybe $15,000 profit this month. I did not make that. And then during the holidays, I mentioned at the very beginning of this video that I made over $34,000. That was my highest month. It was during the month of November. So Q4 is always your biggest time, and November is usually the biggest time. And I am hoping to figure out how to juggle this all really well so that I can actually have a November like that again. If not this year, then by next year. But okay, so I just wanted to kind of let you know where I'm at and what's possible with Etsy, because it's kind of incredible that this little old school teacher was able to build a 6-figure business and in such a short amount of time. And you can only imagine what would have been built by now had I stuck with just that business for a longer amount of time. Here we are in my May stats, and I'm going to toggle this button over here so we can compare to last year also. The gray dotted line is last year, while the black solid line is this year. We're looking at revenue. All of these dots over the course of May are going to show us revenue. You'll see last year I did better than this year. Most of those gray points are higher than the solid lines points, right? And this is because, not because there's anything wrong with Etsy or anything's deteriorating. This is because of my ability to continue to list. So last year I started a membership in July. And so as we've come through the last part of the year and through the beginning of this year, I have not been as present in my Etsy shop as I used to be when Etsy was my main business and it was the main baby that I had, right? Like it was the thing that was most important to me. I would say in level of importance, it goes my membership, YouTube, and then my Etsy shop. I've got people in my membership that are, depending on me. And so they really come first. And the Etsy shop has really become something that is kind of taken a back seat. And so my numbers reflect that. So just to give you, before we jump in and I kind of go through these with you, just to give you an idea, I'll tell you the profit for the month of May was $4,363. So out of this revenue number here, and after paying, ads with the Etsy ads and after paying for my print on demand costs, which is, your biggest piece of the pie, I got to keep $4,363 compared to last May, where I got to keep $11,417. So I was down quite a bit this May compared to last May. Now, one of the things that played into that is ads wasted more of my money this May than they did last May because I was not as present in looking in on them. If you want more information about looking in on your ads, I'll leave a video linked somewhere up here above in one of the corners, and you can click on how I take care of ads. I also have a resource that I created. I'll leave that linked down below. It is free in the membership though. So if you are in the membership, please go check out the resources and don't purchase the resources separately on ads. So we can see here I had 620 orders in April, and that brought me to a revenue of $28,305. Let's go look at last May. As a matter of fact, let's take a little quick screenshot of this. Now let's custom and go look for last May. So let's do 2024. So you can see the difference here. I had 780 orders last May in 2024, while I had 620 orders this May, which is really eye-opening that I made such a smaller amount of money because that's how much money I wasted in ads this time. So my revenue this month, this last May, was $28,305, while my revenue last May was $39,935. My goal is always to grow in revenue from one year to the next. But over the last 2 years, as I've really leaned into YouTube and really leaned into now my membership, I struggle to give Etsy its fair amount of attention. And Etsy is not a set it and forget it type of business. Let's look back over here again. If I go to revenue, you'll kind of see the dips that you go through. Now, I want to show you once again this past May. A lot of people that watch my channel are in the teacher niche. I have a teacher resource that I've built out. I'll also leave that linked down below if you're wanting to check it out. I think that's why a lot of people are in the teacher niche with me. And I have a membership where we talk about the teacher niche. Sometimes we're actually doing a teacher challenge right now during the month of June. P.S. If you wanted to get on that challenge, you could do it during May, June, or July. Those are all great months to go through that challenge, and it'll be live and in the membership during all of those times. But the reason I mention this is because I know when I first got started with Etsy and I first started making it big in the teacher niche, these big order days here, 52 orders, 49 orders. This is all teacher stuff, or a majority of it is teacher stuff. This is a large part of these big volume days are teacher stuff. And then look at this day, 10 orders. So you might, don't feel like you're doing something wrong just because you have these days that dip. This is just the natural course of Etsy. But here, I was not freaking out here with all of these low days. Look at this all this lowness. After coming off of this, it's disappointing to be in these lower days, but this is how the teacher niche works, because when you have all of this last day of school sales happening, and then no longer are people really able, or not as many people are able to get their shirts in time for the last day of school, then you have these dips, right? So I'm preparing my shop. It'll be a great July and an even better August, but I just have to muscle through the end of May and I have to muscle through June so that I can get back to those really high volume days in July and August. Okay, and while we're here, let's just compare this May to this past April. I'm making some very intentional efforts in my shop to turn things back around from the neglect that I've kind of been giving my shop the last year and a half. And I'm not totally neglecting it. I, still list regularly, but I do, I skip whole weeks sometimes. And so, or at least I was really trying to turn things around now. So let's take a look at April. Let's custom. We'll go to April. And you'll notice that with the 28,000 revenue month I just did in May, that blows my April out of the water because April was only 16,494. And so my goal this year, as I take you along on this journey, if you're not subscribed to the channel and you want to see how my June numbers go, then definitely subscribe. I'm taking you along through this journey as I build my shop back up to its glory days. You might notice here that when compared to the same period last year, I'm 47% down in April, but let's pull this back over from May. When we compare that to May was only 29% down from the same period last year, while April was 47% down from the same period last year. So already the efforts that I've been putting into my shop over the last couple of months are starting to turn the tide and turn things around. And would you like to know what those efforts are so you can implement them in your own shop? The same efforts that I'm using right now, the same actions that I'm taking to grow my shop back up are the same actions that I took to grow my shop initially and that you could take wherever you are in your journey to grow your shop to the next place and to see big growth from month to month. Would you like to know the big secret? I'm listing consistently and I'm listing aggressively. If you don't have things in your shop for people to buy during this upcoming season, then you cannot grow. So right now I did a pretty good job feeding last day of school. And Etsy works on momentum. So now Etsy had something to work with. So I got momentum going. And Etsy's like, oh, the pendulum is swinging. Like there is action in this shop. People are liking it. People are purchasing it. The more you sell on Etsy, the more Etsy will push you in front of people, if you have more stuff to push in front of them. And so now I'm really gearing up for back to school, along with some other niches that I like to work in. So along with my being aggressive with my listing, the other piece of this is that I am creating designs that are implementing new design trends. That's the beautiful thing about Etsy. If I continued to kind of lollygag and dilly-dally and not get my shop prepared for the next season like I've been doing, last year kind of what I was doing, not taking it seriously and just kind of putting my efforts into other places. If I were to continue doing that, well, that just gives you more and more space to outsell me, honestly. Because if you are the kind of person that's willing to make new, fresh designs, yeah, I'll sell some of my old stuff this year, and I'll sell even less of it next year. And then it'll start to kind of completely phase out because listings eventually die. Therefore, anyone willing to put in the elbow grease, anyone willing to keep filling their shops up with fresh things, fresh design aesthetics, will be the person that gets to keep selling. And you don't always have to fuel it as much as when you get going. Once you've really got your shop to a place where you want it to be, you just have to maintain, which is a lot less work than actually growing it there. But it's never going to be a set it and forget it type of situation because there's always going to be new design trends, new things that people would like to see, and new things that people want to buy to wear. If you're needing help with that piece, I will leave a video series linked down below. You're watching No Friend Left Behind. If you want to keep watching this series, definitely don't forget to subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it so I know to keep making these. But I have another channel called Simply Shauna, and on that channel, I go into an entire free series of videos where I actually show you how to create designs people want to buy. And if you're looking for a little more help than some videos that are on a channel, I will also leave my membership link down below. If you join the membership, you get access to monthly trend reports and guided activities. Plus, we get to chat a lot more and have weekly live sessions. So if that's something you'd be interested in, I'll leave that link down below. And if you want more information about April's numbers, you can watch this video next.